Hello lovely people, my name is Emma and today I'm doing the genre book tag, which was a tag created by Harriet Rosie, and I'll link her original down below. I've already done this for fiction, but like I said in that video, I really wanted to do one for non-fiction completely separately rather than trying to sort of compare the two, because I do feel like my non-fiction reading taste in terms of the subgenres of non-fiction I enjoy are as broad and varied as my fiction, and actually there tends to be there's like a trend on BookTube for just labeling non-fiction readers as just non-fiction readers regardless of the kinds of subgenres they read, and non-fiction is as broad and varied, if not more so, a category than fiction. So I think it's important to try and make some distinctions there about the kind of genres that I like to read, so you as a viewer can understand if it's something that you want to stick around for or not. These are obviously going to be the exact same questions as in the previous tag. I'll link the other tag that I've done down below. If you are interested in my fiction tastes, then feel free to go check that out. So the first, your favourite genres. So my favourite genres in non-fiction probably fall into kind of two major camps. I'm a really big fan of very specific niche history. So when somebody picks a really specific topic and then really looks like down the lens exactly how that has evolved over the years and what makes it important. So people who do this really well are people like Mary Roach. I've read a book on board games about that. There's been a whole bunch out there which I really enjoy, and I'm also a huge fan for science slash mainly medical writing, if we're entirely honest. Whilst I enjoy science and biology books a lot, I think I do have a real love for medical books and experiences from doctors, the history of medicine now. It's something which I've read a fair amount of, and I definitely need to do a video on this channel for soon. So those are my two major loves when it comes to non-fiction genres. Question 2 is your least favourite genres, and for me that really falls down to basically autobiographies. I've said it quite a few times on this channel before, I am generally not bothered by autobiographies or biographies. I much prefer books that focus on some kind of idea or thing and then look at the various key players within that sort of topic, rather than a particular person and the impact that they've had over their life. Obviously with any of these, and with like the fiction ones, there are exceptions. I am a weird eclectic reader who hates to narrow down what she reads and often can find things that are exceptions that prove the rule, but generally I find autobiographies quite dull. Also because I find that autobiographies tend to be like, I'm going to preface this with like contemporary biographies, autobiographies. If there's a historical element to it, I can enjoy it because of my love of history, but if it's primarily looking at someone who has a relatively similar kind of background to me in terms of both the time frame that they're writing from, but also their background, like someone from a Western society, it's something that I'm just not that bothered about finding out about. Like, I don't really care how you got your rise to fame as an actor or a writer or a singer or whatever you do. I like consuming what you do, and I don't really care about your 5th grade English lessons. The next question is a genre that you want to try, and I think I'm going to kind of include one that I've been trying a lot more of recently, and that is that I've been getting super into nature writing, and within that sort of anthropological writing as well. So also I'm really enjoying exploring more of the like science behind plants and biology and things, and enjoying a lot of the nature writing that is out there about people's experiences with nature and specific animals. I'm also really enjoying look at like paleobotany and kind of anthropological studies and things, and I actually have a book that I picked up recently I think I really like encapsulates this sort of subgenre that I'm interested in, and that is Europe by Tim Flannery, and this is like literally a history of really ancient Europe and how the continent of Europe came to be, the kind of plants and animals that were there, the things that were going on from like an ecological and also like climate sort of perspective, and it's something which I really enjoyed in Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens, the earlier parts of that looked at real like prehistory, and it's something that I want to read more of. Question 4 is a genre that you don't want to try, and for me that is a big shining red beacon of true crime that is about violence. I am not a fan of your classic true crime. There are a few subgenres of true crime that I've read a fair amount of on my channel and want to read more of, that are things that really focus on like more to do with kind of high stakes heists and like really elaborate plots to steal steal particular things, and things that are a bit more based on like property. But when, you know, there's a lot of true crime out there that is focused on specific serial killers or specific things like that, you know, there's a lot that do very well running I'll Be Gone in the Dark, all the different podcasts, and it's just something that really leaves me completely cold, and I really do find difficult to understand why people enjoy it, because it just feels very violent and intrusive and not something that I personally like to read. Question 5 is a genre you're not sure about. Ooh. I'm going to go for science books that are specifically not biologically related. So I read a fair amount of science books, I really enjoy them, but they do tend to have a lot of the biological slant to them. I slurred that so badly. The few books that I've picked up that have been more about kind of chemistry or physics have been ones that I haven't overly enjoyed as much, and I just don't really know if it's something that's for me. It's hard to know whether it's just that I picked up the wrong ones, or whether it's something about, like, you know, kind of an accumulative effect of like the more you read them, the more you'll be able to enjoy them, because you'll have that background of knowledge to refer back to. So it's something that I never really am too sure of, and I definitely shy away from them in the kind of bookshops when I'm having a browse. I definitely, when I'm in the science section, will be keeping an eye out for what I consider to be far more biological based ones. But maybe I should try a bit more, I don't really know. Question 6 is a genre blend that you love. And I'm going to have to say is where somebody is talking about a specific topic when it comes to like the ideas, but then they include within that the history of those ideas and the people who discovered those things. I think there are a lot of books out there that very much focus on kind of, this is the history of this particular concept, but I really enjoy, or this is just like the current accepted knowledge on this particular concept, but I really enjoy it when people talk about, and this is the guy who discovered this, and this is the woman who did these experiments, and this is like what was happening at the time and how it links in with some of the cultural stuff. And I think a really good example of this is Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs by Steve Broussard, because whilst it is basically a full-blown history of kind of our current understanding of how dinosaurs lived and died, etc, etc, it also features in it lovely little snapshots of like, you know, what the dig sites were where these things were discovered, what was going on in paleontology at the time when any of these discoveries were coming to light, what the funding situations were like, and how that, or like the pop culture references and how that starts to impact the field. Because I think we tend to treat like ideas as things that sort of come fully formed and kind of get plucked out of the ether, whereas actually there's a lot of different input and impacts, and the kind of zeitgeist of the time can really inform what's happening and whether these ideas become accepted or not. And I think that that is as fascinating as whatever the topic is in itself. Number 7, a genre-defying book. And for me, that would have to be, like I mentioned earlier, It's All a Game by Tristan Donovan. This is a short history of board games, and whilst it is a history book, it's such a specific niche history book that I have no idea where you could possibly put this in a bookshelf. It is literally the history of board games, going all the way back to some of the very earliest examples of board games, how games like chess have evolved over the years, the kind of like rise of more of the plastic-based board games out there, and what they say about us as a culture, and just generally, it's been absolutely fascinating. I love this book, and I love books like it, and I think, again, similar to with my fiction one, I've got lots on my shelves that really defy genre and kind of don't have a natural place to fit in bookshelves. So yes, so that's it from me for this tag. Obviously there's a bunch of genres that I love to read that I haven't really mentioned here. You know, I read a ton of art history, I read a ton of history in general. There's a lot of stuff out there which I really enjoy, and I find with non-fiction, every time I walk into a bookshop and find a new kind of area, each non-fiction's almost like sparks a next wave of an entire new subject that I just want to read more about and learn more about. So I feel like there is very little in the non-fiction category that I won't read. But yes, so do let me know, are you doing this tag? Again, consider everybody to be tagged like it was with the fiction one. Just feel free to do this one. And thanks again to Harriet Rosie for creating this. It's been really fun to think about the genres I read in a little bit more detail and try and put a bit more of a pinpoint on what I like and don't like. And the answer is, I like a lot of weird things, and it's very difficult to make me commit to anything. So and yeah, that's it from me. Have a wonderful reading week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.